Aamir Khan is known for his films which has her heart in it. When we watch, we laugh, we enjoy ourselves. At the same time, we have tears. And he is bringing that back, the sense of it. Is it too much pressure? Because we had Sitare Zameen Par, which was so good and so well made, and then we have Sitare Zameen Par. Tell us your experience of meeting him for the first time, and is there any kind of pressure? Did you feel it at any point of time?
All the time. But I think, how do you remove anxiety in a person? You remove it through a comforting presence, love, and acceptance, right?
Yeah.
So that's what Aamir sir did to me. So even though we didn't start off with the Sitare Zameen Par connect in the word go, it came very organically. However, it was Aamir sir who made me feel very comfortable, because all that you said, I was going through in the first meetings. The name Aamir Khan. So when you're going to meet him for the first time, you're going to be like all nerves. But within 5 minutes, he gets you so comfortable, and you're like, oh man, he's a cool guy. He's so chill, So I think that is what I have really learned from Aamir sir. We made an honest film, and the trailer, when it gets a lot of love, that also gives you confidence. But the anxiety is never going to go away. That's going to be there till the day of the release on June 20th in theatres. And yeah. So I'll just go have a word with Aamir sir again and feel comforted.
Can you take us back to the time when you met Aamir Khan for the first time?
The first time I met him was, I didn't get to meet him. That was the first time,
Okay.
So my meeting with him was the fact that I couldn't meet him. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah. So basically, again, there is a Sitare Zameen Par connect in that. So basically, he's a person who says no awards and that.
Yeah.
So there was this one particular award function in Chennai called the Gollapudi Srinivas Awards, which he came for. And because there was a very emotional base to why they're instituting the award. It was based on, it was like a kind of like memorializing their son, who was a debutant director, who died while making his film.
Wow.
So every year they would choose debutant directors and kind of honor them and celebrate them as if that person is their own child.
Wow, that is like...
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking and at the same time
so
so beautiful.
So Aamir sir, obviously, that's the kind of award he went to. And there in that huge crowd when Aamir sir was getting that award, a lot of people inside the auditorium, right? I was not there. There's a bigger crowd outside who didn't even get in. I was there. So I saw Aamir sir when he came out, and I would be like, craning my neck, and Aamir, and all of us would shout. Like how all our Sitare shouted when Sachin sir came in, right? So I was Aamir, that kind of thing. And it did strike me that he was so real and so authentic, and like he would speak to everyone. That was my memory that was my first meeting. He had called me for a whole day. So it was like an 8-hour thing.
Wow, 8-hour conversation with Aamir Khan.
Yeah. And it was one of the most magical moments of my life. Yeah. I was like, 8 hours he's giving to me. I mean, like, who's this guy? Like, he can just like say, okay, you're the director, have a meeting. That'll be fine,
I have other meetings to do. I have to go.
Of course. So
right?
That means he's kind of completely blocked. His focus is on me. That's so fascinating. Like in a world obsessed with kind of being on the surface, he's a guy who's giving it all. So I knew that with sir, I'm going to be working with an energy that's going to be so authentic and all out.
But was he convinced in the first go that, yeah, I'll be playing the main character? Or did he say, no, not me. Why don't you take this one or that one?
It started off with him excited for the film, and he wanted to play the film, the lead role. Everything was set. It was after Lal Singh Chadda, that's when he was in an emotional downtime. That 1 year. That's when he felt, he wants to take a step back from acting, and we decided he'll produce the film, and we look for other actors after a while. But I always used to tell sir, you're the person who's going to play it in the end. Because I know you love the film, and I know how much of heart. And by then we had put in a prep also towards the film. So I know that he is all out. Just that right now you're going through a lot of emotional emotionally vulnerable time, and
Yeah.
we're all humans. We need to heal.
Yeah.
Quite often, people don't understand that being human is what makes a great artist.
Yes.
You know, so I think he was. It just showed to me, in fact, that one year, that wow, he cares for his films so much. This is how much he loves his films. So
And
when I
that's why it
do-
hurts him so much.
Yeah, and so when I do get an opportunity to direct him, it'll be a joy because he's going to care for my film so with all his heart. That's all you can control, you know.
Yeah. The characters in the film. Now, when you are making a film with especially able people, you need to be extremely sensitive. You're sensitive about everything, but here you need to have people around you, maybe a psychiatrist around you, maybe people who can help you understand them better and portray them better
Yeah.
in a film, right? What are these things that you did to make sure that they came out as their best and people would love to watch them?
It's a great question. So we had a lot of thought behind this, starting with our Dr. Neena Vaidya, who's our consultant for special needs. She's a pediatrician, and she has organized a lot of inclusivity events. So she's a person who guided us on all the medical needs. What are the things that we can do to comfort them if something goes, like, see, some of them may have an adverse kind of like a epileptic attack if the light strobes too much or something happened. Luckily, it didn't happen too much in our film, but we had a doctor, who was guiding
You have
us.
to be sure that everything is taken.
We went
Yeah.
through a research period of that. All of our HODs, she conducted a workshop on what words to use, what is autism, what is Down syndrome, what is the spectrum. All of us, we had a one-day workshop. Then I made, her sit with all my HODs separately. So that in each department, they would list down questions and ask, right from the lights to be used, to the costume materials to be used. So also their parents. So their parents are very, very closely involved in the making of this film. Yeah. So for example, every single department, I can tell you, let's say Srini Reddy as my DOP, we took a lot of effort to make sure the environment is lit and they can move around wherever they want.
Yeah.
So we're not going to constrain them,
At the same time, you have to make sure that the wires are not lying around because there's
lots of things like that.
Right?
So it's a lot of credit to every team member, like Srini Reddy at the lights he used were very cool lights and they would not heat up the place. My production designers, Nikhil and Apurva, one day I found them, there was a particular edge which is very sharp. The next day I'd seen that they had beveled it and make it smooth. I went and asked what happened. This is so that they don't trip and fall. My costume designer, Sachin, for example, he and his team would sit with them for hours together and find out what is the fabric they use at home. And they built our fabric which closely mirror that. Every single person, my assistant Pawan, for example, would quotes them lines and all that would be like every need of them, from their taking their medicine to whatever, taking them to the restroom. And then also we were taught good touch, bad touch. Like how do we sensitize our whole every single member. And after a point, they are so accepting and loving. I think there is innate empathy and goodness in all of us which they bring out. After a point, everybody would be taking care of them.
Yeah, I saw the behind the scenes and I wanted to be there.
It was such a joy.
It was a joy being around them and just everybody having fun.
Absolutely.
It looked like हम मजे में थे
Yes.
और हम मजे में film बनाए.
Correct. So, my teacher used to tell me that if you want to have fun in your summer holidays, right, make sure you do your homework fast. So we just took care that all of us do our homework so well, all of us, including Sitare, Aamir sir, all of us, that on set we wanted to have that fun vibe because that's the film.
Yeah.
On set we should not be worried about are lines bhul gaya, ye bhul gaya. So luckily with a producer like Aamir sir, he understands that and he expects that.
Yeah.
So prep is done so well that you're not on set, you're actually having time to play. And play is very important to make a film, especially a fun film. I think that energy on set and vibe on set is grossly underrated.
Yes.
I feel it makes you open up so much more and you become more authentic. So yeah, every single, like a basketball coach, Sylvan, would make sure that they are trained in very interesting ways. And
you
each
have
of
to
them
try new things to train them.
Some of them learn their lines through audio means. Some of them write their lines and learn their lines. So every single department, Manoj Sharma, my acting teacher, would take workshops with them, teach them how to play off each other. So a lot of small details. But I think all of them came from the space of that we needed to create an inclusive space. And they made us comfortable. Sitare made us very comfortable.
Yes. And the last question that I want to ask is that, working hours. I'm sure for them, you all had to, what are these things that you all changed?
Yeah.
Other than, of course, what you said, what are the changes that you made for them that they could be, maybe that doesn't happen in any other set?
See, I feel that when you work with someone, again, like I'll be praising Aamir sir a lot in this because he deserves that praise. When you work with somebody like Aamir sir, he understands that the working hours has to be sensible because all of us are human beings. We're all working for the film, and the quality of your final movie actually is a reflection of the kind of pressures on set, or. So Aamir sir is very supportive of a director in those scheduling. He will never tell you to do things fast unnecessarily, right? Our constant search is to find that optimal pacing for that particular scene, right? In terms of shooting. So with Sitaare, for example, small things we did was we always had like even in our time when we were having our, workshop sessions and all that, we used to shoot those sessions. We used to make sure the lines are in, and we used to make sure the basketball choreography is down pat. So what happens is like a stage play. They could stage the whole film, top to bottom.
Uh-huh.
So then on set, you're only like you're working with them as actors. You're not wondering if that line is forgotten. And they would have such sharp memories. They would remind each other of missed lines. And sometimes they would tell Aamir sir, aapne to you forgot this line. And I say, मैं बोल रहा हूँ भाई, मौका तो दो बात करने का. So they would remind us of things. And they come and tell me, but you told me do it some other way. I said, हाँ भाई, I did some other way. Sorry. अभी अब try करें क्या? So there's so much, their memory is so sharp. For example, in the acting workshops we used to have, morning we used to do acting workshops with them. Afternoon, we got beds for them to sleep in. So they would sleep off for 1 or 2 hours, some of them. And after lunch, some of them, their energy would go down. And so then we would make sure that they are getting their power nap. And then in the evening, we would go for coaching. So they had very sensible working hours. But I must tell you one thing, they worked with such high stamina. So actually, we underestimated their capacity. We finished the film.
And that we always do.
We always do. Always do. But I think it's, we made it, with a lot of buffer for them to take rest and all that. And then they would surprise us. But we always made sure that whatever is the amount of time required, let's say their parents would let us know, right? And by the time we went to shoot, we knew their patterns. Okay, so then we would also organize the shoot in such a manner that, okay, if he's a high energy person in the morning, then we kind of prioritize that. And the afternoon, we kind of let him sleep and then he comes back. So all of us were focused on one thing, that these Sitaare should not be disturbed.
Before making this film, but in your personal life, did you have any experience with specially able kids?
Yeah, I had a classmate who was a special person in school, way back in school. And I remember having, we were in an inclusive school before the name kind of caught on. But I didn't have any awareness of the what is autism or what is Down syndrome. But I think this conversation I had with Aamir sir also, that why I want to make this film. Like when we were delivering our first child, that time there is this thing where, you kind of take some medical tests and all that about
for
the
Down
baby
syndrome.
and Down syndrome and all that. So I remember that being a very confusing time for me because personally I felt very guilty. And I felt like, therefore, am I saying that I'm choosing a child who's coming out? I was very confused. Then am I being a bad person if I were to say that I don't want a child with... I was very confused, as to what... Of course, the medical procedure is very valid and very right and all that, but I was I was becoming a father for the first time. So I was going through a lot of guilt, and that time my doctor advised me that, this test is done for Down syndrome and all that. Then she taught us about what it is. Then we used to do our research. But all through that research, I was having a big guilt in me that...
Yeah. So do you mean that if we do the test and if we found the child is Down syndrome, we abort the child?
What would be my reaction? No,
that's
not even that. That's still a last step, right?
Yeah, but the doctors tell you that's your decision if you want to, but you're given the choice.
I'm saying even before that, before the external world asked me a question, the very thought that this conversation was happening, I was not prepared for it. You know, that's when you start learning about it. So that was my first peek into the world of Down syndrome and autism. I started reading up. My Bina and my wife, we started reading up, and I was feeling very enlightened when I talked to the experts about it. That, oh my God, there is such a big world out there, and there's so many people out there dedicated to making them inclusive and making, dedicated their lives to making this society more inclusive. I was very moved, and I was feeling also very guilty about that. I didn't know about all of this, and am I a good guy am I a bad guy and all that? So I felt that how many people would be like this, who don't have awareness about it. They're not bad people. We have not had this conversation with them. Why not we do that? And somewhere this film was kind of resonating with that Prasanna who had so many questions, but I was afraid to ask, lest I be judged.
I think you healed with this. Can I say that?
With this film?
Yeah.
I think all of us healed. All of us healed with this film because Sitare gave us so much of love. They healed us through this film. And I think all of us somewhere have, this feeling that sabka apna apna normal hota hai. All of us want love. All of us want acceptance.
Yeah.
So Sitare gave us so much of love. Like there are days on set when I'd be a little stressed and all. Then suddenly this Bantu who keeps scratching his ear will come and hug me and say, don't be stressed, sir. It's okay. And suddenly I'm like, oh my God.
So cute.
They were like our therapists, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, last question. I swear, Abhishek, don't kill me, okay? Last question, I swear. We have seen a lot of films being made on specially abled where the casting has been done of actors who have played as specially abled. Now, if you would have done that, things would have been different. But why did you choose not to do that?
Well, I think there is a certain energy to a real performance. And when real people who have lived life, when they embody a character, they bring their lived life to it. They bring a certain authenticity to it. Also, this movie, when you see the movie, you'll understand why it required real people to, because the messaging of this movie itself is that of, which you'll see in the movie, I can't reveal now, but there's a certain messaging in the movie which will make sense that why this film had to be done this way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for making a film like this. And I can't wait to watch it.
Thank you. And I can't wait to show you the film.